Hello everyone, this is going to be an all signs video about the transiting Neptune entering into Aries. This is a 165-year cycle, so nobody living has really experienced it in this incarnation anyway, right? We did have a little bit of a taste of it back last year from March 30th until October 23rd. But it really didn't get very far. It only just dipped in and then started going retrograde. But again, it moves so slowly. That's why it takes so much time. And again, 165 years. So some people will never have Neptune in their sign during their lifetime. Okay, some people never will. Unless you live to be 165 years old, maybe you will. I mean, with technology, I suppose that's possible. But with where we stand right now and what we know right now, nobody's going to ever, some people will never have it in their sign, in their life. So this is going to be a sign by sign, and we're going to pull some tarot cards too. We'll pull 3 cards here from HAMSA Roberts. But it's really, a lot of it's kind of speculation because we just really don't know. But we can kind of imagine what it might be like by thinking about the energy of Neptune, or the atmosphere, or what the Neptune brings to the table. And Neptune is, of course, the god of the sea. It rules intuition. It always is tied to the sign of Pisces. Okay, where's our, well, that doesn't show it, but the Pisces sign, actually we could visualize it maybe even a little bit better by looking at this Cancer, the Cancer symbol turned sideways. Because the sign of Pisces, of course, is the 2 fish, right? And then the 1 fish swims upward, and the 1 fish swims downward. And so that's the positive expression of the Neptune energy, and maybe not the negative, but the escapism, because that's a big part of what Neptune can be. So let's start with the positive things Neptune can be. It's dreaming, it's visualizing, it's psychic, it's spiritual, it's creativity, it's connecting with the muse, it's otherworldly, it's the water, it's depth, it's our subconscious mind, it's dreams. So, I'm a big Neptune girl. I have Neptune in the 1st house too. I love to swim in the waters of Neptune. I work with Neptune energy always, That's all my jam. That's all stuff I like to do. But still, again, Neptune negative can be escaping reality. So all those things are kind of transcending reality, transcending, going beyond the 3D reality that we find ourselves in, okay? But the fish swimming downward, the other part of the energy is escapism, just flat out. And that can be through, commonly it's drugs and alcohol, but it can also be through lying, deceit. It can also be through mental illness. It can also be like you don't see things clearly. It can be rose-colored glasses, or it doesn't have to be rose-colored. It could be the other way. I don't know what you'd call that, where you see, you put a negative slant on things instead of seeing it, the quote-unquote reality, which is a, an ever-shifting thing. The more, in these days, in these times that we're in, with Pluto and Aquarius and everything. So there's 2 sides to the coin and 2 ways that you can use the energy. Again, we did have a little bit of a taste of it last year from March 30th through October 23rd, but I mean, it was just barely. But it was sort of like maybe a prelude to what's to come. Could be. You could think of it that way. Okay, now we're going to go sign by sign, and I also did do another video on Saturn and Neptune going into Aries, I think, together. I'll try to put a link to it at the end of the video. So I'm sure, I didn't watch it again. I'm sure I'll say different things now, but you might want to listen to that as well. No matter what, it's all speculation, because again, I've not experienced this. I'm old enough now where most of these transits I've had that, I had Saturn go through all my houses a couple times already, and so I can kind of give some insight into that, but this is, nobody knows for sure. It's the great unknown. All right, so let's first start, we're going to start with the sign of Aries. Well, Aries, it is in your sign, and that is, intense. And not only that, it's intense, but it also is very different from your natural vibes or your core energetic imprint, you know, frequency, because you are fire, and water can, you know, water can douse fire and put it out. But if you want to work with the energy, you know, it can really help you to slow down and see things more clearly. Go with more of your feelings. More, you know, really sitting with your feelings. Or, you know, this would be one thing for Aries, you know what, this would be a great time to get into meditation or some kind of mindful practice, mindfulness. It doesn't have to be sitting there cross-legged and doing the mudras, you know, coloring, painting, listening to music, where you just kind of, you're not, it's not so action-oriented. You're an action-oriented sign. We know this. We know this, Aries, about you. But this may be a time where you might want to check in with yourself a little more. Also, another thing that could be really prevalent is your dreams. So if you don't already, you may want to be, you know, doing a dream journal, keeping track of your dreams. I always email them to myself. I talk them into my phone, and then I, you know, write them out later or type them out later. Because this day and age, you try to wake up and you're trying to write. And, I remember lots of times, like, there was no ink in the pen, or, you know, just talk it into your phone, right? Easy peasy. And whatever facts, you know, you could do it on notes or whatever you want, but just get them down before you forget them, because you know, you're always kind of in a rush, Aries. This is the time to slow down and reflect and contemplate. And mature, come into some maturity. Because Aries, you're the baby of the zodiac, you know. And now it's time to kind of settle into some maturity. Okay? Alright, so let's go ahead and get 3 cards for our Aries for the upcoming Neptune. Did I mention the date on that? The date is the 26th of January. Yeah. I need to write that down so I can remember for everybody else. I don't know if I wrote it down or mentioned it. But the date for this year is going to be January 26th of 2026. 2626. That's all my numbers too, because I'm 122662. That's my birthday, 62. 122662. So these numbers are all lining up with me. I got a feeling like there's something magical that's the Neptune for you guys too. It's like something magical that's, maybe you don't even really know what it is, but you just kind of feel like it's something magical, right? So go with that. But anyways, here we go. 3 cards for our Aries friends. This is Sun, Rising, Moon. Anybody who has prominent Aries cross watchers, whatever your thing is, whatever your jam is, baby. Jam on with your bad selves, Aries. Okay, let's make sure everything's in line. Yeah. What was I just saying? This spiritual stuff. By checking, because this is the Page of Cups, is that card of that spiritual, your higher self, or what did I come up with lately? Oh, your holy self. This came through from my guides. Instead of higher self, it's your holy self. There was another one after that too. That was the first spark, and then I even refined it to something else. But Holy Self is coming through now. This is very much the Neptune energy. This is very much communing with your spirit guides and angels. Look at the fish on there, just so it's Aries. And by doing that, then you are more equipped to act and move forward. And do this. This is so Aries, you know, Ace of Swords. Let's break through. Let's, you know, I've got my sword drawn. I'm ready to charge right in. On this particular deck, I do really like the Ace of Swords because it shows the dark clouds and then the light piercing through the dark clouds. So where there may have been fog or uncertainty, or you're not sure what to do, by checking in with spirits, somebody's going to get into some jewelry making or doing stuff with gemstones, talking about that mindfulness practice, you know, where you're just concentrating on what you're doing, and it clears your head out. It's very therapeutic. Somebody's going to be doing jewelry or like lapidary gemstone stuff. Is going to get into that. But by doing that and communing with your higher self, the muse, whatever you want to call it, your guides and angels, you can have major breakthroughs, because this is a major turning point for you, okay, Aries? This is a big cycle that's going to be 165 years. This is, this is kicking off a long-term cycle. And not only that, you're also going to have Neptune going into your sign too. So this is Neptune, excuse me, Saturn. So there's a lot of action in your sign. So you're creating new cycles on all kinds of different levels here, Aries, all right? Now, there's going to be, looks like there could be a big breakthrough, and then things are all of a sudden moving. Things are really, really moving. Because you've clocked into, or you've connected with the right action. Because that's going to play a big part when Saturn comes into your sign. Dealing with right action. Not wasting energy by doing this, starting this, starting that, starting this. Focusing, finding that right action, and then steering your path thusly, I guess. Alright, Aries, well, thanks so much for tuning in. Don't forget to check your rising and moon. If you could take a minute to hit the subscribe, like, hype, all that stuff on my channel here, it's highly appreciated. If you want a reading from me, no special readings at this. I got cut off, sorry, Aries, but I was just saying, yeah, I have other readings and astrology reports. Don't be fooled by imposters. That's the only way to contact me. Hope you have a great one. And next we're going to move over to the sign of Taurus. Well, Taurus, this is moving into your 12th house. So this is going to be, if you didn't watch the very beginning, I recommend that you really do, to just get an idea of what Neptune's all about. But in your 12th house, it's actually kind of the natural placement of it. It's the past, it's dreams, it's memories, it's contact with people who have passed on. You might be getting visitations, whether through dreams or just little, signs and symbols, things that you might see, cardinals, things like that. Or whatever your symbol is for your particular loved one. You might be seeing some of that. It's dreamy. It's, you're creative already. It can really enhance your creativity too. It can really help you to connect with your subconscious mind. Things from the past, coming to, remembering from the past, people from the past, situations from the past, all the above. Not only the past in this incarnation, but past lives too. I mean, it's that deep. But let's go ahead and get 3 cards for Taurus, Sun, Rising, Moon, anybody with prominent Taurus, cross watchers. All things Taurus, 10 of Pentacles. I know you like to see that card, Taurus. Wow. And we have the 4 of Cups. Somebody's making you an offer. Nice. And 2 of Wands. Somebody's making you an offer, and it looks like it's a path that you definitely want to take. For many, I feel like, well, it could be a job offer, for sure. But when I looked at this grabbed my attention, and these pine trees grabbed my attention. And I think for some of you, it might be a house, buying a house or moving to a house or something like this. This can be, it could be an inheritance too, a 12th house activation. This can be inherited money or the family home, generational. But when I looked at this and this, I got a psychic flash of like driving on a place that's got a lot of trees like this, a lot of like pine trees. And it feels like there's a winding road. I'm hearing that Sheryl Crow tune. Every day is a winding road. I get a little bit closer. Something like that. If you never tuned in before, my guides come through with music all the time. I think that's Sheryl Crow. But it reminds, it reminds me of, I want to say the Alleghenies. Where the hell is the Alleghenies? Is that the range that goes through Pennsylvania and New York? Because I think, I'm just going to look it up really quick. Just a second. Allegheny Mountains. Yeah, PA. Yeah, I was going to say it reminds me of the NPA. So for some it could be, but I mean there's places like that in Colorado out west. There's places like that all over Canada. So it doesn't necessarily have to be, but it reminds me of driving through that area, the Alleghenies. And I guess I probably knew that it was called the Alleghenies, but I don't remember really knowing that. Geography is not my strong category on Jeopardy. They had mountain ranges like last night when I was watching. It was just like, oh, well, this is a wash for me. I don't know the name of anything. Okay, so, but anyways, back to you. This looks really nice. This is some kind of an offer that is, there's some big money changing hands, or it could be super prosperous for you. Big money, lots of wealth, you know, these types of things. It could be a sale, a buy or sell, or it could also be an opportunity or a job. Whatever it is, it brings along this beautiful big money. I know you Tauruses like that energy. It's an offer. You're mulling it over. You're thinking it over. But ultimately, Two of Wands is here. It's a new day dawning, you know, and you want to do this. This tells me that it's only in its beginning phases, especially the Two of Wands. This is like it's still a plan. What's that saying? Oh, I knew you when you were just a twinkle in your mother's eye, or something like that. It's just a twinkle in your eye right now. The sun is only rising on it. And in Aries, too, this red sun, that's very Aries energy, right? And he's got the world in his hand, though. So it's like the world is in his hand. He can, whatever you're visioning and thinking of. And here's another thing. This could be a tangible offer, especially paired with the Ten of Pentacles. But the hand does come out of a cloud. So this could be just a download from Spirit, you know, a gift from your angels or something, an idea that pops into your head. Whatever it is, you're making a plan. The sky is clear. It stands a good chance of being very successful, very, very prosperous, and it's a good path for you to go along with some big money implications. All right, Taurus, so I'm not having any special readings this week or this month yet, but I do have other regular readings available, several different kinds, and astrology stuff, all on my website. Don't be fooled by imposters on social media contacting you. That's not me. If you can take a minute to hit the subscribe, like, hype, all that good stuff, it's highly appreciated. And then next we're going to move on to the sign of Gemini. Well, Gemini, this is going to be in your 11th house, which is hopes, wishes, and dreams, money from the career, friends and groups is the biggest thing that I think of it as. And in the 11th house, you know, you've got this Neptune. You could, through some kind of Neptunian activity, like maybe some kind of class where you're doing creative things, or attending some kind of a creative event where a lot of people have this thing in common, something in common, but it could be something Neptunian in common. That's what I'm saying. So maybe, you know, in the arts, attending a play, attending an art show, attending a theater production I keep wanting to go back to, or you yourself getting involved in these kind of activities. You can meet, or even a spiritual kind of, joining a church or a spiritual retreat or some kind of spiritual group that meets. You could meet, you know, some lifelong, you could find your tribe, you know, your pack. You could find your peeps, you know what I mean? And Geminis, you're very social anyway. You're definitely very social. And you're going to be having Uranus going into your sign also. We'll be doing another video on that, but that's not for a minute yet. That's going to be in end of April. But so you're going to be going through some changes too, and that may include, you know, hanging with different kinds of people, getting involved in different kinds of things. But that you are drawn to because it feeds your soul in some way. That's what the Neptunian energy is bringing. Okay? All right, let's go ahead and get 3 cards for our Gemini, Sun, Rising, Moon. Anybody with prominent Gemini. We've got the Knight of Wands, the sweet... I was going to say Sweet Caroline. So... the High Priestess, actually. The Sweet Caroline. So that's going to resonate with somebody. Either, you know, it could be somebody named Caroline. It could be... hold on, I have to plug my ears up. They're itching because my neighbor's spewing poison out of their dryer thing out there. Coming right at my window, which is not cool. It's supposed to be legal. But anyways, it's driving me nuts. My ears are itching really bad. Okay, so... Sweet Caroline, that could be a lot of things. it could be a person's name, but of course there's the Neil Diamond's, the famous Neil Diamond song, Bum Bum Bum. Yeah, we all know that one. Isn't there a restaurant or something called Sweet Caroline's too, or something like that? I think there's not anywhere around where I live, but I seem to remember hearing, let me just look it up really quick. Sweet Caroline restaurant. Well, there's a whole bunch of them. There's one in South Carolina. Well, I thought it was like a chain restaurant or something, but it's not. But maybe if there's a Sweet Caroline's near you, you know, if that's a place, like a, you know, and where, look at these people. You're meeting the people. Open the doors and you see all the people. That's what you're going to be doing. So this is also the Neptune energy too. The High Priestess could be very much associated with Neptune energy. It is going into your subconscious mind. It is, you know, using that Neptunian energy. The High Priestess very much uses the Neptunian energy. These things on her throat, or maybe it's part of her collar, but if I get it to come into focus. See those two things on her throat there? That is grabbing me so strong. I mean, some of you, maybe you need to get your thyroid checked or something. I mean, it's not necessarily, you know, Neptune 11th, but because it's coming through so strong. Because it does feel like cuts or openings to me. But it also cuts and openings, like, to me, it almost reminds me of fish gills. Or like a breathing. Or maybe you know somebody who has, you know, the voice box thing, has had their throat, part of their throat. I don't know what that surgery is, but I've known several people in my life who have that voice box on their throat. But that does feel, for some strange reason, like it's that. But it's also your throat chakra, okay? And so it could be like expressing yourself, using your throat chakra, singing, all these types of things. Get your thyroid checked if there's any question, anybody watching this. But anyways, but these are the people. We've got the Knight of Rods, which is a fire sign energy, which is an Aries energy, but it could be an Aries, a Leo, or a Sagittarius person. And then we've got the Knight of Pentacles, and that's maybe an Earth sign person, a Taurus, Capricorn, or Virgo, but it could also be the money person, somebody who's money. They're both knights, so they're both carrying this younger, fresher energy, which is also very much an Aries thing as well, right? So it's about this young, having fun. And I feel like, male or female, you're the High Priestess sandwiched between the two of them, right? You know, no gender, whatever you identify as. But this is you, I feel. And these are these other people. And see, the other people in the tarot spreads, when the High Priestess shows up, they see the High Priestess as really cool and like really ultimate and really awesome. You know, in a traditional hetero love reading, it would be, you know, the man's ideal woman kind of thing. I mean, and it could be a love reading, but, you know, you're 3 peas in a pod, my guides are saying. You're going to meet some friends, or maybe the 3 friends you already have, and you guys are going to go on this pursuit together, this spiritual awakening pursuit, and you're kind of leading the way and bringing along some of your other friends, or maybe even your kids if they're older, you know. So dealing with other people, connecting, but it's deeper than just a superficial thing. It's going to be long-lasting, deep relationships could be established at this time. Okay, well, next we're going into the sign of Cancer, and this is, you've had Jupiter in your sign here, Cancer, till the end of June, and this is up there in your 10th house. I mean, the thing that comes to mind straight up is, I'm hearing straight up, now tell me, Paula Abdul, do you really want to love me forever? But the thing that's coming through is just straight up career. I mean, if you wanted anytime you wanted to change job, Neptune, you could find your dream job. But also with Neptune, there's that downside to make sure that you know what you're getting into. Make sure you know everything that it's about, and that there's nothing hidden between the lines, especially if you have to sign some kind of contract or agreement. But really, your dream job, you know, what you've been visualizing, wanting to create. And then with Saturn following right behind, it could really be, you know, long term. But also Saturn following right behind could also be, you know, you have to put in the hard work. But with Jupiter in your sign for the first half of this year, and it won't be back for 12 years, you know, you want to really, anything you're dreaming of by putting out into the world and getting acknowledged for, a new career, a new job, you want to do it now, because you've got Jupiter in your sign, so you would stand out in the crowd. People would want to pick you. You know, Jupiter shines the light on you. You have that attraction factor going on. All right, well, let's get our 3 cards for Cancer, Sun, Rising, Moon. 10 of Cups. Next we have 8 of Cups. And then finally, we have the Emperor. Yeah, this really looks like many of you could be changing jobs. Some of you may have to relocate to do so, because this 8 of Cups can be like, oh, we have to move to a new place, or, you know, something like that. But more so, the 8 of Cups is really about leaving behind all this stuff, whatever it is. And it's usually emotional, and you're emotional. You're very much an emotional sign, right, Cancers? This is the different stuff that you've built up. And the 8 number is very significant, because 8 can be like 8 years, you know, something like that. Also, again, I'm going to do a separate video probably, but Saturn's going to be coming right behind. And Saturn runs on a 28-year cycle, but it runs on 8-year cycles too, or 20. You know, it's about 8 years for this quarter turn, for the square. And you're getting a square here too. So it could have been something over the last 8 years that you've put your heart and soul into, or whatever the case here. And you're just ready to move on. But the overall vibe of this card in itself usually is, well, she doesn't know where she's going. She doesn't know what's next, you know. But in this case, you're heading towards the Emperor. So that could be you becoming the Emperor yourself, you becoming the one the authority person, the one in control, the one who has the decision-making powers, etc. Or the Emperor has summoned you or called you. You know, you've got the job, you've got the whatever you want. You know, they've made their decision, and whatever it is, you're very happy about it. 10 of Cups is like one of the best cards in the deck. It's the 10. It's the most. 10 is the most, just like a regular deck of playing cards, right? You got Ace through 10. 10 is the most. Happiness, joy, all the good stuff, right? And it includes not only you and your partner, perhaps, but even the whole family, you know. Fun for the whole family, my guides are saying. And I'm seeing this river here, and my guides came through with, it's a long and winding road. It's been a long and winding road. So it has been a long and winding road, but now you're getting there. It may require a leap of faith, my guides are coming through with. It may require a leap of faith on your part, but you're leading to happiness and more power, okay? You're not being forced out. You're leaving on your own, you know, because of you've been summoned, or you get this opportunity. It's not, sometimes this is being forced out, but it wouldn't be with the Jupiter. Like I said, this Jupiter energy, you got to use that up. Make hay while the sun shines. All right, Cancer, we'll check your rising and moon if this didn't resonate. I have other readings on my channel, Rock and Roll Prophetess. I don't have any specials running right now, but I do have affordable readings and astrology charts always available over on my regular website. Don't be fooled by imposters who are pretending to be me on social media, because I'm not contacting you on social media, and nor is anybody else, okay? Go to my website. That's the only way to connect with me. Okay, 1 second. We're going to do Leo. All right, Leo, you're up next. Well, Leo, this is in your 9th house, and Neptune in the 9th house is really powerful. I mean, the 9th house and Neptune have some things in common as far as spiritual growth, expanded consciousness. I mean, this would be a great time to get into something like that. Carve out the time to do your spiritual work, or as I said in the beginning, your mindfulness exercise. It might not be necessarily meditating. Maybe it's being in nature. Maybe it's you're creative too, Leo. Maybe it's drawing or coloring even, or something that excuse me, that takes you out of your head. Excuse me, 1 second, I'm sorry. And what they're coming through with right now is takes you out of time, where you lose time doing it. You lose yourself. Ninth house could also be a great time to travel to foreign and exotic countries, someplace you've always dreamed of going, because Neptune is dreaming. So, expanded consciousness, learning something new, being open to what Neptune wants to show you. Because, I mean, Leos, you're pretty fun and open, but you still are a fixed sign. And sometimes you have a hard time letting go of old beliefs as well. This is the time to be open to the possibilities. That's what my guides are saying. All right, let's get 3 cards for our Leos. Sun, rising, moon, or anybody who has prominent Leo in their charts. Let's see here. We've got the King of Swords, Page of Pentacles, and Queen of Cups. All people. People, people, people. So, I'm hearing people, higher ground. People, keep on keeping. That song. Love, keep on turning. Or whatever it is. Till I reach for higher ground. Yeah, so reaching for higher ground, that is actually a good thing to go with that. None of these represent you, none of them. And Page of Pentacles, it can represent a younger person who is an earth sign, a Taurus, a Capricorn, or Virgo. But usually I use it as messengers, you know, the messengers. All the young dudes carry the news. That's the pages, all right? So, news about money. The way, what I'm picking up is the avenue to this spiritual awakening or whatever may start as a quest for money, or because it could bring you some money or something. But then it could really open up other doors to other consciousness. It feels like this person, the King of Swords. So the King of Swords could be an air sign person, an Aquarius, a Gemini, Libra, sun, rising, moon, whatever. It feels like they're saying, hey, come and... It almost feels like you're going to go work at this. For somebody out there, for sure, it's like you're going to go work this event. Hey, come and work this event, or perform at my event, or something like that. And you're like, yeah, well, the money's good, everything looks good, I'm going to go, you know, or I'm going to do it. Or maybe it's a job, but it feels like an event. And then once you get there, it's really what's behind you is really your spirit guides and angels were there. You don't see them. This represents you, I would say. Even though you're not an earth sign, I get it, but it's still, I feel like it represents you. And behind you, you know, they used to say, who walks behind you? And that was like, who is your spirit guides, angels, protectors, and different things behind you. So, all the while, and this is very Neptunian energy as well, you know, this is the water energy, the Neptunian energy, so. And so this could be also like you're thinking with your head, hey, sounds like a good opportunity, whatever it is. Somebody also, it could be like some kind of, you're going to go do a timeshare or get a campsite or somewhere like a getaway place where you can get away to. And this guy, this feels like very in the head. We're doing a proper business deal. This is all about facts and figures, you know, very mentally oriented. But all the while, there's this spiritual energy, right? Working behind the scenes that you're not seeing or noticing or you're not aware of. And that's also going, well, I guess that's true always, but even more so with Neptune, that's leading you to some kind of bigger discovery. You know, you may not go into it thinking it's anything other than it's this specific thing, we've worked out the details, and there's going to be money exchanged, and, you know, off we go, whatever it is, but yet, there really is this higher guidance at work. So it's pretty magical, pretty cool. All right, Leo, well, if you want to go deeper into this or anything else, I do have readings on my website, only on my website. I'm not contacting you on social media. Those are frauds. Please don't fall for that. And if you like this video, please do hit the like, subscribe, hype, all that good stuff. It's always appreciated. Check out my channel for more videos. And next we're going to move on to the sign of Virgo. All right, Virgo, well, the 8th house primarily is joint finances. It's the partner and then the money from the partnership or money from inheritance, these types of things. It's also sex and death. You know, it can be legacies. It can be that's why it's a lot of times highly tied to inheritance. Now, Neptune's going to be in there for a good long time. I forgot to check how. I know the rotation, the full cycle is 165 years, but I forgot to. I think it's 12, 14 years, something like that. I know it's more than 10 years that it stays in the sign. I think it's 14. But, you know, it's going to be there for a while, in other words. So it may not be for a while that this thing, you know, happens. This doesn't mean somebody is going to drop dead tomorrow or even in the next 14 years. But it's kind of likely in the next 14 years somebody, you know, is probably going to pass, you know. But it's joint finances, all kinds of things. Now, Neptune in the money house isn't the greatest, honestly, because it's a ruler of Pisces, your opposite sign. So it's the ruler of everything you stand for by the German Virgo. You know, you're all detail oriented. Everything's got to be this. You know, we want our ducks in a row, all this kind of stuff. And Neptune doesn't have any rows or ducks. Well, they got the ducks, but there's no rows. It's all, you know, it's all open. It's all swirly, freeform, freestyling, you know. So it can be, and, you know, in your money house, that can be a little bit, you know, some of you could have a partner who's going crazy spending or hiding money or hiding their spending or hiding money or something or hiding their debts or something like that from you. So you may want to use your Virgo, you know, quick mind there and look into something like that. But also just be careful. But the other thing, the first thing, you know, the money could come from you didn't even expect. You didn't see it. You had no knowledge of it. You know, it wasn't in your universe, and then it just swims right in. It reminded me of we had this relative, and there's a lot of kids in my dad's family. There's 8 kids in his family, and there's a lot of grandkids too, like, I don't know, 40-something regular grands, and then many great-grands, and so on. But there was this guy, he was a Verly, and somehow he passed, and there was money that trickled down to us. Well, the only reason my brother and I got money was because our dad had already passed. The other 7 kids, they got, but it wasn't much. Once you divided it up 7 or 8 ways, and then my brother and I got only a half share. I think we got, I don't know if it was $150 or $300 or something. It wasn't like life-changing money or anything. But we had no knowledge of this guy. Not even the older people in the family. My grandmother was still living, and but she was, you know, she was not a descendant, so she wasn't in line to get it. It was only the descendants, and she never knew about this guy. You know, apparently my grandfather, none of the people knew about him, but there was the long lost relative, and people always say, well, I don't have any long lost relatives. You never know. That's the kind of thing that could show up here. Okay. Or, you know, there could be some kind of a thing with a partner, too. It might not be you. It could be your partner who has a long lost relative. But anyways, let's do some 3 cards and see what the tarot has to tell us about it for Virgo, Sun, Rising, Moon. Anybody with Virgo in their chart? If you feel compelled to look at the Virgo, and maybe it's for you. You got World and Wish card. Nice. Nice stuff here. And then 6 of Wands. Wow, really nice stuff here, Virgo. This could be a windfall, the way this is showing up, because that's another thing the 8th house could be. I mentioned this in one of the other videos. I got a whole folder full of these class action suits. I get them in the mail all the time. And a lot of times, you know, you don't, it just says only contact us if you don't want to opt out of it. So sometimes you're in a class action suit, and if you didn't look at the spam mail or what do they call it, snail mail, you know, because a lot of times I just toss it right out. I don't even look at it. But you know, sometimes I look at it, and it goes, oh, and it always looks like it's some kind of, you know, it's not like a big bold thing. You know, it's really low. You could easily throw it out. You know, it's not like it's got advertisements all over the envelope or anything. So. Maybe some of you are in some kind of a class action suit and didn't even know it. Or maybe you do know it. Maybe you are involved in a suit and you do know it. But whatever this is, the wish is coming true. It's a major victory and triumph for you. Definitely you're in the spotlight. And, well, there's going to be a couple more eclipses in your sign this year, or at least one. And then the world. It's even, like you said, oh, I got this thing, and then it's like, wow, it's even more than I thought it was going to be. Or I'm in this class action suit, maybe I'll get $10 back, and well, it's like, it's way more than $10. Or, it's way more than you thought. Or whatever's being bestowed upon you. I mean, you may be really touched by I feel like somebody's retiring or something, or getting an actual reward, but it feels like different people are getting up, and it's not your funeral. I mean, I guess it could be with the 8th house, but that's not what I'm seeing here. This doesn't look like anybody's funeral. But it's one of those things where they all go around, or maybe it's some big anniversary you're having, or a big birthday, and everybody goes around and says, blah, blah, blah. It feels like a retirement party for some people. That's the vibe I'm picking up on. But then I also am seeing sort of like an award ceremony, a small little award ceremony, nothing. Well, maybe it's big for some people, but I'm seeing a smaller setting, and a lot of you're touched by how many you didn't expect it to be. You knew they were going to have a little retirement party for you, but you didn't realize, how much it would affect you, or how much the people really cared about you, or had, how much they really thought of you on whatever level. Or maybe you're coming up for a raise, and they say, hey, guess what? We want you to run the whole division. You're really taken by the accolades that are being bestowed upon you. So it looks like a great time for you, Virgo. If you want to get check me out further. I have artwork, the decks, the books. Do have some readings, no specials at this time. It's always through my website. I'm not contacting you on social media. Those are frauds and imposters. Do not be fooled by them. And then secondly, there's more videos on my channel. And if you have a minute to hit the like, subscribe, hype, dig that. I would dig that very much. Okay. Let me get a quick drink of water, and then we're going to get on to our Libra friends. All right, Libra, sun, rising, moon. All this stuff is in your opposite sign. So even if this is, kind of more particular to your rising sign, but it's true for anybody. Your opposite sign is your opposite sign. This is yourself, this is the other. Even if you're not Libra rising. So it's going to be about other people. But, Libra, you do that anyway. You put people first. And your partner, you're the sign of partnerships. So you're very partnership-oriented anyway, But that's going to even that's going to be more emphasized with this Neptune. Now, the Neptune is the dreamy. If you skip the first section, go watch what I talked about, all about how the Neptune energy can go 2 different ways, right? And, the Neptune is dreaming, idealizing, maybe you and your partner are making a dream come true in some way. That could be one of the positive expressions. If you're single, you can meet somebody who is your dream lover or whatever, the person you've been dreaming and visualizing. They could be in your house, it's funny I said in your house, but in your life is what I was trying to say. Or maybe some dream for your partner that you've been cheerleading on for your partner, or the 2 of you together even. A dream could come true. This is all, very favorable manifestations of Neptune. A creative project would be great. A creative partnership of any kind, not just with your romantic partner, could be really fruitful. You could really be in flow and working, downloading that muse energy and really collaborating really well. On the other hand, it is that escapism. So your partner, maybe there could be a drug or alcohol situation where things get out of control and you've got to help them through it. Or maybe you meet somebody and you don't see that they have a drug or alcohol problem. Or be aware of anybody you meet. Nobody in Libra rising especially should be rushing into any kind of marriage at this time. Make sure you know everything. Do a background check. I'm serious. Do like a background check, because you're not seeing clearly your partnerships. You're just not. Again, you can harness it and use it to create, dream and all that, but be careful. Don't sign any contracts without it really having it looked through. Your partner could be struggling with mental health issues. You may be having to deal with that. So, it's a double-edged sword, I guess you could say, but it's really, the fish swimming up and down, and the card flew out. Hold on, we're going to get it. It's on the ground. Let me see here. Oh. So your first card is making decisions. Now let's get 2 more cards. 5 of Wands. And finally, the Four of Swords. This could be too, with the way these cards are showing up, where neither of you are hearing the other person. Where you're in a situation, because this is ongoing conflict, you know, and where they're not hearing you and you're not hearing them. And Libra's your one, you'll bend over backwards to please somebody. I mean, you can be a people pleaser, but really you're just trying to be nice. You know, you always try to see both sides of the coin. It's not necessarily a bad thing. But, I mean, if a Libra is to the point of, you know, I'm tired of this, then somebody's really been pushing the buttons there, or really been, you know, pressing them. It's a big decision, and it's a decision only you can make. It's interesting, too, look at the woman who has the blindfold on in this, you know. So everything I was saying about not seeing things clearly, you may not see things clearly. But one thing you know for clear is that you don't want to be in this situation anymore here. You want to be at rest. You need a break from this, okay? You need a time of rest. You need a time of break. Some of you may do a trial separation, or maybe you just want to get away by yourself if you're in a relationship. Maybe you just need a break, because sometimes when you're away from your partner, then when you get back, you really get a chance to miss them. If you guys are together all the time, you don't have a chance to miss them. So maybe one or the other of you, or both of you, go on a trip by yourself for a little while. It doesn't have to be a trial, you know, all this formal trial separation stuff necessarily. But, you know, carve out some time for yourself. This little guy in the back, for some reason, is standing out to me. And I've been using this deck, I think, since it came out. I think in the late 80s, maybe in the 90s I started on this deck. But in particular, if I can get him on the card in focus, that guy's standing out to me. And if you look at the position of this guy, you know, it looks like these two are the main two going at it. But it's like, if this guy's getting pushed to the back almost, like he's not even being heard, you know. And that's something that can happen with you, Aries. I find I said Aries, but that, because the Aries, the opposite sign is the Aries. And it can be, Aries can be pushy energy. They can be really pushy. Think of the ram, you know. So maybe you've been getting pushed to the back, whatever the case, you're at a crossroads, you need to make a decision, but you need time to figure things out, okay? And you're going to have peace. You're going to get past this, and you're going to have peace. You know, Neptune is the bringer of peace, for sure. Neptune is big-time peace energy. I'm hearing peace train. Ride on the peace train. Yeah, so ride on the peace train. Maybe somebody take a train trip or something. But you're going to be making some big decisions, and for some, not everybody, and not everybody in your life, but some of you may be cutting some people out of your life, you know, just forever. We see this a lot, actually, in this day and age. We see people divided, and hopefully we can work past it, but sometimes we just can't. You know, or sometimes it's just like, I was never really good friends with that person in the first place. Why do I even give a F what they think, you know? I just, later... You know, I don't care. But that's me, and I'm not Libra. You know, I have my own stuff, my own different kinds of energy. I could maybe use a little more Libra in energy, right? So take time. Don't let somebody, if you've just been pushing, struggling to be seen, heard. It's time to back off, number one, get your bearings, and maybe it's time to, you know, cut it out altogether. Now, if that doesn't resonate, I know it wasn't the best reading, but maybe it was helpful or insightful for some. If that doesn't resonate, do check your rising and moon, or head over to my channel, because I have other readings there. If you have a chance to hit the like, subscribe, and all that hype stuff, really appreciate it. Okay. Next, we're going to go over to Scorpio. Well, Scorpio, this is going to be in your 6th house of work and health. I mean, on the upswing. Maybe some of you could, let's do work first. Maybe you could get that dream job, too. Maybe you could get a job doing something really creative or that you really love. And it's almost like a pinch me. I can't believe I get to do this as my job, as my work. On the downside, maybe you're getting into something that it's just like... you could get into, I'm picking up somebody could be getting into something, be careful that the company is doing some kind of dirty dealings and you're not involved in it, but somehow you could get implicated or, you know, lumped in with whoever's doing the backroom dealing under the table. They're showing me money passing under the table and stuff, and like hiding money or embezzling or something, perhaps. You know, so, you know, you don't want to get caught up in anything like that either. You know, because sometimes Neptune is don't ask, don't tell, you know, kind of energy. But be careful, because those things usually end up, you know, they don't last forever. They usually end up getting busted one way or the other. And if you were any way involved, you're going down with the ship, my guys are saying. So watch out for that. Even if Neptune didn't know anything about it, you know, you could be totally in the dark, and then next thing you know, you're getting indicted or whatever's happening. You know, you don't need that energy. Now, secondly, with the health, it could be, you know, definitely this is a time to go get all your stuff done, because Neptune could uncover something hidden. So get those scans done and those different things done, right? But also, Neptune could be maybe it's that mindfulness energy again. It could improve your health. And again, the mindfulness doesn't necessarily have to be sitting cross-legged and saying Om and doing mudras. You know, you could get lost in. I get lost in artwork. You know, you could get lost in doing artwork or just coloring or doodling or wherever you lose track of time, because Neptune is out of time. Okay. Wherever you lose track of time, that thing, or being in nature, or being by the water, for sure, you know, all these things, that could be very healing. And then number two, if you are somebody who is dealing with something serious, maybe Neptune could be, and I'm not a doctor, always consult your doctor, but could be some kind of experimental, maybe an experimental drug. Neptune does rule drugs. Or it could also be alternative, you know, some kind of different kind of, you know, a healing modality, you know, something like that. So keep that stuff in mind. And then let's go ahead and get 3 cards for Scorpios or Sun, Rising, Moon. Anybody who has prominent Scorpio in their astrology chart for this Neptune in Aries transit. 2 of Wands, the Emperor, and Queen of Pentacles. Okay, let me get these aligned a little better. Well, 2 of Wands says you have a vision, you have a plan. He has a plan. He's thinking, he's looking out, and there's clear skies ahead, yet it's only the beginning. It's the new, you know, it's a new sun, the new day is rising, it's the beginning. He's only in the beginning phases of it. He's only looking. Neptune is visioning, okay? He's visioning his future, and he holds the world in his hand. So he doesn't really know for sure right now what it's going to be. It's just a vision, you know. But with the world, it's like it's assured that he's onto something big. You know, it's something could be really big. He's looking out at the Emperor, so there could be a help or partnership or teaming up with the Emperor. The Emperor is the person in authority. I've said forever that the Emperor doesn't have to be a man. It's the person who calls the shots, the person who has the power. There's many women CEOs and women in power all over the place. And it may in fact even be this Queen of Pentacles over here. But I feel like it's more like money. And it might even be this could be the same person. So this is the Queen of Pentacles, this is the Earth sign person, the Taurus, Capricorn, the Virgo. Couple things are grabbing my eye, how they both, well, all 3 actually. He holds the Earth in his hand, he holds the globe in his hand, and she holds the pentacle in her hand. So there's these 3, and this almost looks like the moon, doesn't it? And that could even be the sun. But they all have something to offer. They all have a piece of the puzzle. They all have this thing in their hand, you know. They've got this orb, this circular thing in their hand. And really, I didn't notice this one, even though I even mentioned it and talked about it. But when it first grabbed me, I noticed the 2 of these together. like these two come together. So this Emperor could be even saying, hey, I think maybe they're not going to be as hands-on. Maybe they're like, hey, I love your idea. Here, I'm going to set you up with my person over here. I think you guys would be a great team. There's an opportunity for a great team, partnerships. The rabbit is also grabbing me. Now, rabbit is a card, is a symbol of very much abundance and everything. But, of course, in Christianity, Western Christianity, United States, it's Easter. Now, I'm not even sure when Easter is. Easter is in Aries season, usually, too, which is interesting. But let me just check for a minute. When is Easter? We know it'll be on a Sunday. When I said that, I heard Sunday, Sunday, Sunday. Okay, Palm Sunday is March 29th, so yeah, Easter is the next week. It's April 5th, right, dead in Aries season. So even though this is, this is really the whole energy for the next 14 years, 12, 14 years. But I kind of feel like maybe Easter might be really significant for things that you're dreaming of now. You may see come to fruition around Easter. There could be a Pentacle person, a Earth sign person, a Taurus, Capricorn, Virgo, who is very instrumental, and that you may partner up with and become a team. It feels like the Emperor comes first, though. That's the interesting part. So maybe the Emperor hires you, and then here, this is your work partner. You'll be working with, here, meet so-and-so. And it would be a long-term partnership. So it does, maybe for some it could be like you already are a team and then you're going to hook up with the Emperor. But to me it feels more like the Emperor facilitates this, okay? I just looked up and it was 4444. It won't be that way on your screen because I had to cut the tape and stuff. That was interesting too. I just looked up again and it was 4454. Alright, Scorps, well, thanks for tuning in. Check your rising and moon. If you want to get a hold of me for readings or learn about my books that I've written and my decks and all the things that I've created, it's all going to be through my website. That's the only way to get with me. Don't be fooled by social media imposters. They're frauds. I'm not contacting you about readings through social media, only through my website and my email. And the Rock and Roll Prophetess is my channel. I have other videos. If you could hit the like, subscribe, and all that good stuff, then that would be very appreciated. If you like the astrology, I forgot to mention this, if you like the astrology and tarot like this, I do that over on Patreon on the weekly too. Okay, next we're going to go over to Sagittarius. Sagittarius. Well, Neptune in your 5th, man. Creativity is going to be off the freaking hook here, alright? Manifesting your dreams, being creative, dreams coming true. If you have kids, it could be about your kids, perhaps, but mostly it's you. Like, if you can use that energy in the right way, things just getting better and better and better. Like, you can't believe that is it really like dreaming it and then it's happening. And, feeding it with joy. My guys are saying feeding your dreams with joy. Ooh, that's a good one. I gotta write that down somewhere. Hold on. Well, I'll just grab my phone and put it on a note. I have so many notes on my phone too. It's going to be a month-long job to ever sort these out here. Here we go. Feeding your dreams with joy. Yeah, I like that one. Yeah, and then it just gets more and bubbles over and bubbles over. The caution of Neptune in the 5th is you could be partying too much, for sure, okay? Check yourself before you wreck yourself. If it's getting a little out of hand and you're getting a little bit too much party good time stuff going on, you may want to try to dial that back. That is another part of, the downside of the Neptune. All party. They say all work and no play. Well, you might be all play and no work. You got to keep it together here, all right? don't go off the deep end, or don't try any new drugs. Don't try any new recreational drugs during this time because you might like it too much. You know what I'm saying? I'm just kidding. But anyway, I'm kidding, but I'm kind of not. All right, let's go ahead and get 3 cards. 3 cards for our Sagittarius. Sun, rising, moon, anybody with prominent Sag. We've got the 7 of Cups. Yeah, what I just said. Using that Neptune, dreaming that energy into being. And the moon also dream. Look at this. All spiritual. All dreaming, vibing high. All of this stuff is, the star is your guides and angels. See, this is, you're dreaming, you're asking, you're praying even. You could say you're praying, you're asking, you're trying to manifest. These are all the things that that are in the energy field, in the, you know, the cosmos is what they want me to say. And your guides, they hear you. The spirit guides and angels, they hear you. They hear you loud and clear, my guides are saying. And they're also sending messages back. See, that's the thing. Sometimes we're so busy manifesting. We're making our vision boards. We're manifesting. That the guides they hear us, okay? They heard you the first time. They heard you the first 10 times, okay? They hear you. They know what you want, okay? But we don't hear them, you know? So this is a bridge between the earth and the sky, you know, and the moon. This could be talking about some of these eclipses too, but really more what I get, because it's such a full moon, it's like listening. This is the listening. Yeah, we know you're talking away what you want, but then are you listening? Are you listening for the guidance that your guides and angels are trying to impart to you, so you can receive? Because the receiving isn't always, you know, well, I want this or that, and it's going to show up at my front door. You know, in this day and age of everything's delivered to our front door, we want it at our front door, you know. It reminds, this is a funny story. Well, years ago, I had a friend, we used to work the psychic fairs together, and we would do, you know, all the readers would exchange readings before the fair started, or if it was slow or whatever. And we did some love. She was asking, or I don't think I asked about love, because I always had some kind of squeeze somewhere going on. I just wasn't really looking for anything serious, you know. When my kids were little, I just had my weekend people, and that was, I didn't bring them around my kids. When they were gone on a weekend at their dad's, then it was my time to, you know, do my thing. But somehow it came up. I doubt I asked about it, but I remember what she said. She said, well, you got to get out there and look. They're not just going to show up at your front door. She was real snotty with me. I was like, whoa, you know, whatever, dude. I'm not even worried about it. And then, lo and behold, it wasn't long after that, within a couple of weeks, this guy did show up at my front door. Oh, it was so funny. And it was weird because in the reading she was picking up on, she said something about a grocery store. She kept saying she might meet him at the grocery store. That there was somebody coming in my life and I might meet him at the grocery store, or maybe, or something like that. But I kind of knew who he was. He worked in the area, and he actually lived on a street a couple houses away from a grocery store. So that's another thing, how the psychic thing is right sometimes, even though it doesn't seem right. So she was picking up grocery store, but actually what she was picking up was he lived a few doors down from the grocery store. But he worked in my area, and I used to take my kids to the bus stop every morning, and he would drive by, and I would always see him, and I always was like, there was definitely, you know, major vibes. Well, I guess he must have seen my car. I mean, it could be a little stalky, creepy, but it wasn't. At the time, it wasn't at all. And I opened the door, and there he is, and I was just like, wow. I guess he found my house because he knew the car. Well, I had this old beater car, the Green Machine. It was a family car that we passed around. I'm getting way off on my stories here, but anyways, that was one time when, you know, she's saying he's not going to show up at your front door, and lo and behold, he actually did. You know, we dated for a while, but anyways, you got to listen. This is what I was getting to. The knowledge, sometimes, this is what that's how I got to the front door thing. It's not always a tangible object that's going to show up at your front door. It's wisdom, it's knowledge, it's that inner knowing, it's those signs and symbols that they're trying to guide you. It's, you know, we want next day delivery on my front door the next day. You know, we're in such a place in our society when this is swimming in the deeper waters here, and that's very much a Neptunian thing too. Swimming in the deeper waters, okay? That's what Neptune, that's how you can work with that Neptune energy. But it's listening, because there's a bridge between what the guides are trying to show you and what you're asking for, and it lies here. But it's still, the moon is still like a state of unknown, so it's trippy. It's not all that, I mean, it is so easy, but it's sometimes not that easy, you know. It's an intangible, which is another good word for Neptune. All right, Sagittarius. Well, I hope I helped you out. Sorry about the long-winded story about the grocery store guy and all that. But anyways, if you want to get a hold of me, if you want to learn more about my readings, the books that I've written a tarot book and some other books too, channeled material. You can connect with all that. Well, there's links below, but always through my website, okay? I'm not contacting anybody on social media going to give you a free reading or anything like that. Those are liars and imposters. Don't be sucked in by that, okay? If you liked it, please hit that like, subscribe, and what's the last word? I'm saying honk. My guys want me to say honk. Well, that's so weird. What is it? It's hype. Yeah, don't forget to honk. Honk if you like the rock and roll tarot. Alright, Capricorn. Alright, Cappies. Well, 4th house. Big changes in the home, the environment. The upswing of the home environment thing. Now let's go the upswing of it. It is maybe you want to redecorate. You want to paint. At least paint. Or change, change the decorations. Because that's interior design is very much a Neptunian kind of thing. Make your place, where you stay a beautiful place. Beautify it. Make it to your taste. What your dreams are. And even if you can't move to your dream home, maybe you can do some stuff in the home you have to make it more like your dream home, You could move to your dream home in the next several years, That could happen too. The other part of it is watch out for these, all the stuff, the plumbing, the foundation, water any kind of water plumbing thing, be careful around that. Now on a deeper level, Neptune, the 4th house, is where you came from. It's your foundation in life, okay? It's where you start out at. It's where you came from. It's your ancestors, who nurtured you, who cared for you, your home where you were birthed and grew as a human in this incarnation. So there's that energy. And Neptune in there, I mean, you could find out some family secrets, perhaps. You could find out some family secrets for good or for ill. You could have some things revealed that maybe you always thought a certain thing and it wasn't true. In the best possible way. Maybe you always, as parents, sometimes parents will take on the brunt to avoid, they'll make it their fault rather than, tell the true story. Or like, I've seen a lot of times in single family, or you hear these stories like, they say, oh, your father was a war hero or this or that, and then he was killed in the war. But really he was he abandoned you guys or something. But it could be the other way around, maybe the parentage and things like that. Those kind of secrets could be really revealed during this time. Also, overcoming, spiritual growth of some of these things, especially like if you grew up in an alcoholic household, for instance, that'd be Neptune in the 4th. Maybe you could do some big, profound healing and understanding and take that higher ground with that energy, So it's a big deal. And these angular houses, this 4th house, it's your very foundation. It could be super powerful. You may want to make your foundation a more spiritual place, You may want to set up an altar or set up some place where you can pray or meditate in your home or in your garden or something like that. All right, let's go ahead and get our 3 cards for Capricorns. 1, 2, 3. It's easy as 1, 2, 3. Da-da-da-da, oh, re, mi, A, B, C. That's how easy love can be. Come on, come on, come on. I can't get that low. Come on, let me tell you what it's all about. No, that was bad, sorry. Anyways, wow, love, 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 love. All we need is the birds singing and the butterflies chirping, because it's lovey, lovey time. Well, though, the Empress is here, and this again, because the 4th house typically is your mother. So it could be something about your mom, or something like that. But more likely this is you, okay? This is you presenting and stepping into the Empress, making your place a place of beauty where you can flourish. The Empress sits on her throne, and she summons to herself. She's not out chasing anything or anybody around, all right? She knows her own power. She sits in her seat of power, and she attracts everything she needs, and she's fully abundant, and she's fully, flourishing. There's some kind of offer here. Somebody thinks this of you. Somebody thinks you are the Empress. And they're making, a soulmate is making an offer of love. Maybe it's an offer of getting married. Maybe some of you are going to start a family, because the Empress can be the pregnancy card. And the soulmate could be the partner, or it could be the soul of the child who's going to incarnate. Either through you or maybe through other avenues. But you're going to be really important to that soul coming in. You're going to be really, really important. Okay? Offers are being made. You're uncertain. You're uncertain if you're interested or in any of it. You know, you're just like, well, I don't really know. My guides are saying maybe it's time to take the dive. So if some of you haven't been out there in the dating pool or whatever it is for a while, maybe you give it a shot. You might meet somebody. There could be soulmates on other levels too. It does not have to be romantic. Especially if there's been health things, you could find that perfect doctor or therapist or somebody that just, you know, brings you back to health or brings you back to life. Or maybe through, if your mother needs help, that it could be through that. And then maybe that takes some of the burden off you. They find this great, you know, healthcare helper or somebody. But there is definitely major soul. This is all about the heart energy and love, and which that's Neptune on its highest level. It's divine love. It's the you know, it's like it's the all that is love, that kind of love. It's not even romantic love necessarily or at all. You know, it's just the love that permeates throughout us all here. So you're coming into a very loving period if you want to. Because typically, Capricorn, you're all about the career, the striving. You know, you want to make things happen. This is more creating that home environment, that loving foundation, connecting with family. Capricorns are very connected and dutiful to family. You know, they often get, oh, they're all about the career and the Cancer is the family. No, Capricorns are too. Which I just pointed over at Cancer. That's your opposite sign. Jupiter still is over there. So you could definitely meet somebody really cool if you're looking, if you want to. Okay? Well, that was surprising. I wasn't really expecting to see that for Capricorn. Hey Caps, I don't have any special readings, but I do have a few readings available through my website. The charts, the readings, the decks, and the books that I've created and everything is all through my website. Don't be fooled by imposters on social media. They are just frauds. I'm not contacting you that way. You'd have to contact me through my website. Also, I keep forgetting to mention, too, if you like this format of some astrology and then cards, I do this every week on Patreon, too. So here we go. Next, we're going to take a look at the sign of Aquarius. All right, Aquarius. Well, I mean, you are so... I don't want to say you might not even notice the Neptune in Aries, but I mean... You've got a lot going on, bigger fish to fry. You've got, you know, Pluto is in your sign. And your ruling planet of Uranus is going to be making a big shift this year, too. So this might not even be the main event for many Aquarius' life, but it's you know, it's still notable. Now, this is Neptune going in your third house. So this is going to be communication. If you ever wanted to write that book, this is the time to do it. Start journaling, writing, you know, even channeling, doing automatic writing. All of these things would be really great. Learning new things, getting involved. My guides are saying doing your civic duty, but I was trying to say doing things in your neighborhood. But doing your civic duty, I mean, hey, maybe you want to run for city council or something. Even some of you, I mean, I could see that happening too. All right, let's go ahead and throw 3 cards but writing is very strong. 1, 2, 3. 8 of Cups, you're ready to move on to the next thing. Well, you know, Pluto's so much of this. 4 Cups, 8 of Pentacles. Okay, let me get a drink of water. My mouth is so dry from this dry heat in the house. And talking so much. 8 of Pentacles, let me jump over here first, because 8 of Pentacles is doing that work that you love. That you could just spend hours and hours, and you can get lost in that. You can get lost in writing or creating over here in your third house, using your mind to create. And you're an air sign. You're very mentally oriented anyway, so that's right up, you know, that's in your wheelhouse. Okay, so this is doing the work that you really love, and because you love it. Now, it is a Pentacle card, so there is money involved, or there can be money that comes from it, you know, for sure. But, you know, it's more about the process. He's into it. Yeah, money's there, but he's into doing. He wants to make it the best possible thing he can, and he just loves it. 4 of Cups. So some kind of offer's coming. You're ready to move on from something else. Some kind of offer's coming. For many, this could just be your dream, a job that you really love. Maybe close to your home in the 3rd house. Maybe it involves writing or something like that. Maybe even being creative in some way. For somebody, it's something working outside, like maybe landscaping, but that's not quite right. But doing stuff outside. What I noticed when the cards looked when they came out, of course these go up sort of in like to a peak in the pyramid, and these there's like an angle here. I've never known the way you take his profile of his face, and there's an like it's the same angle. So it's almost like 2 worlds meeting, or 2 halves of the whole, or, you know, 2 worlds colliding. You know, what's that? Luck is opportunity, when opportunity meets practice, or something like that. That's what this feels like. Let me look that up. I want to give that right, because that's a good saying too, a good parable, or whatever you want to call it. I'm going to look it up real quick for you guys. Luck is when opportunity meets preparation. It's in there. Yeah, it came right up in the Google search AI predictive text. Yeah. Preparation. That's what this looks like. When opportunity meets preparation. So you're preparing, you're making your plans, you're doing that thing you love, and then all things kind of come together. Now, I wouldn't be surprised in your case, because you're going to have an eclipse in your sign. You're going to have the first eclipse. I'm probably going to do some extra readings on that for everybody, but just, I wouldn't be surprised. Let me just tell you when that's going to be. I think it's February. It's in your birthday season. It's February 17th. There's going to be the first eclipse in your sign. I wouldn't be surprised if it's not around that time frame, okay? That's only a few weeks after the Neptune goes in there. But, or maybe that's when you think of the idea, you know, but that's going to be, that's also tied into everything. I mean, you've got all this Pluto in your house, and then the eclipses are going to be in your house. So there, like I said, this might even be kind of a side note for you. But it's definitely going to enhance your creativity and maybe lead to a job that you really love, or a project that you really love. Okay, last but not least is Pisces. Well, you're really, it's very interesting for Pisces people, because that's your, Neptune is your ruling planet, okay? And Neptune was in your sign for these last years. And I joked about it. Somebody even commented, like, it might have been even too much Neptune even for you. You know? So it's moving on. It's almost like Neptune came home to roost, right? And it's almost like it replenished itself. It reconnected with its soul of who it really is. And now you're sending it off into the world. Almost like a little kid or something like that, where you're going to send it off into the world to the next, you know, its next 165-year cycle. But anyways, it just straight up astrology here. It's in your 2nd house. It'll be moving into your 2nd house of money, values, earnings. So money could be, you know, watch that money. You know, watch if somebody else handles your money, and you've got an accountant or somebody like that, or a money manager, make sure you get in there and look at those books, and make sure you know what's going on, because they could be, you know, and all by the same token, just on anything, you know, maybe get that app that they have that shows you all you might be paying money that you don't even know, you know, you forgot about. Or maybe you still have, you know, paying fees for apps and different things that you didn't even know you're paying. You know, just, you know, read between the fine print and everything, and any kind of money and financial thing, because Neptune is the planet of illusion, and it could be an illusion in that respect. But also, Neptune is a planet of creativity. It's the arts, it's spirituality, and you could be making money through those avenues, you know, those kind of money-making opportunities through, it's film, it's YouTube even, videos and film. So maybe you're going to start doing some YouTube things, or maybe you have, and your channel is finally going to get monetized or something, you know. But really it's more your dream. If YouTube's not your dream, then that's not necessarily it, you know. That's just one example. Okay, let's go ahead and get 3 cards for Pisces, Sun, Rising, Moon. Oops. Ooh, we have the 4 of Pentacles, and this one stayed, the Star. I'm going to leave it. Chariot and Ace of Cups. Okay, well you get 4. Because Neptune's your ruling planet, I guess you get 4, right? Because you're special like that, Pisces. Okay. Alright. Well, what grabbed me right away is the stars on the Chariot card and the stars on the Star card. So maybe get out and be under the stars, that you could get some inspiration or some kind of downloads. You also are going to have eclipses in your sign this year. Now let me double check that when that is, because there's 2, but one's in Virgo. Yeah, yours is the second one in late August, but the Virgo eclipse on March 3rd is also going to be, it's going to oppose your stuff. I'm probably going to do some videos on it. But it does feel like that certain astrological alignments could really, boost you forward. And if you wanted to look into that, we could look into that further, or talk to a different astrologer or whoever. But you've been hanging on to the money here. You've been trying to make it work, because you also have Saturn in your sign too, which has been difficult. Maybe your money avenues have dried up or become, the channels have tightened up, where there used to be more flow coming through, especially if you have multiple, that's the way they're showing it to me, especially if you have multiple income streams, some of them may have been kind of, closing off, or it's seeming to be. It's only, the Star has all the streams that you need. See the streams coming from her hands? She has all the streams that you have. She's raining down and blessing you with new streams of income and new streams of whatever you want to do, because you have the Ace of Cups over here. Wherever you felt tight and constricted, it's only to put you, that's Saturn at work right there. When you feel tight and constricted, that's Saturn pushing you, the pusher man, pushing you over to this Ace of Cups. So there's some kind of beautiful new thing that the Star stayed behind, so it was important. She didn't want to be left out of the reading, right? That is being led to this beautiful Ace of Cups energy and this beautiful overpouring of creativity, spirituality, of thriving. The Ace of Cups is thriving. Cups is your energy also. It's the water energy, and you're the water sign. Chariot is the highest success card in the entire deck. This is the phoenix rising from the ashes. So anything where you have felt weighed down, or you just can't get out of it, or it's too heavy, this is the beginning of that whole release. Starting with the Neptune and then Saturn falling right behind, because Saturn's going to do that. This feels more like the Saturn influence. But it's as if Neptune somehow is taking the lead, because Star is Neptunian, Ace of Cups is Neptunian. They're bookending the reading, So anything here, any struggles can be overcome. Maybe not through trying to brute force, use Saturn's approach, which is outside of your nature anyway. You're not the pusher, man. You're not a pusher. You're the Pisces will lay back and let it flow, big time, right? But by opening, like the Star has her arms open. With arms wide open, under the sun down to... whatever that was, with arms wide open. Yeah, but you should have your arms wide open. I think that's, I know who that is. I can't think of the name. I can see the singer, and I know the name. I know the band. I saw them in concert several times. They were hot in the late 90s and early 2000s. Creed. That's Creed. Yeah, so arms wide open. There's so much to receive. There's so much blessings to receive. You've gone through the trials and tribulations of Saturn, particularly Saturn, which is going to be winding up now too. But this is Neptune energy. The Neptune is coming through as your defining atmosphere, your influence. Your defining influence as it is, as it should be, as it is in your birth chart, because Neptune is the defining influence of Pisces. It is your ruling planet. All right, well, it looks wonderful. Things are going to be overcome and opening up new avenues, new channels of flow. of creativity, but also I want to say income streams too for many. All right, Pisces, well, thanks for tuning in. Hey, if you want to get a hold of me, if you like my decks that I use, I create decks. I've written books, both on tarot and channeling. All that information, well, it's in the description, but it's also over on my website. Don't be fooled by these people on social media pretending to be me or any other people on YouTube. If they're contacting you through social media, they're imposters. So please don't fall for that, okay? And if you like this content, please do hit the hype, subscribe, and like. That's highly appreciated. Keeps the channel going. If you like this format with a little bit of astrology and then some tarot cards, I do it every week over on Patreon, so you can head over there. Again, everything's in the description. Have a great one, and I'll be back again soon with another reading.